Microsoft Excel, Chapter 1, Blue Box 13. In the last exercise, you learned how to resize columns and rows to a particular uh, width and height. In this exercise, we'll see how we can use AutoFit. So I'm going to click on A, hold the Command key down, C, E, G, and I. So I have the non-contiguous selection, and what I'm about to do will work only for the selected columns. Under Format, I can choose to auto-fit the column width. And what auto-fit the column width will do, if you currently look, you can see that Indigo 5 in the Silver Moon Lounge is too wide for the column width of A. And so what Microsoft Excel is doing is, imagine this were your task, it's going to look to figure out what takes up the greatest length, which cell takes up the greatest length, and then it sets an appropriate column width to ensure that we can see all the contents. Looking at, for example, in cell I6, reliable distributors, what you're going to find is that column width of I is going to almost double so that reliable distributors can be seen in one particular, you'll see it in only column I. In the last exercise as well, you'll notice that we talked about the fact that you can adjust one column at a time, and you can do it manually, just visually how you might like it. So, for example, as I get to the edge of A and get towards B, and I have the arrows pointing to the left or right, if I click on my touchpad or mouse and drag, I can choose exactly the width I'm looking for. It's a little hard to perhaps narrow down to the exact column width I might want, which is why the precision of choosing the column width, for example, in this case, 28, that's what I would like to have, ensures that I get the right width. Again, to show you the autofit can be done for a single column as well. If I select column A, and now instead of actually clicking and holding the mouse button and dragging, instead, when I get to where I would be able to adjust the column width, I double click. You'll notice that double clicking does the auto fit. The final assignment is going to make sure that you have the column width of 28 here. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that that is the appropriate column width. So instead of 28.5, we'll get it down to 28. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that C, E, G, and I match the assignment, which is going to be to see if you could get this to a column width of 18. So I will, I've selected using the command C, E, G, and I. They don't look like they're 20 or they're 18. So I'll go ahead and look at the column widths, and I will type in 18 to make sure that the grader project grades just fine. One of the other things that you'll notice is some of these cells had words that the text was wrapped, but now that we can widen the column, it's going to make the column wide enough that the wrapping of the words no longer is necessary. However, for the assignment, we want to make sure that the contents actually or what we asked the cell to do still remain. So this Rio Rancho here, for example, you'll notice we still can see that the wrap text selection is still there. So don't undo that kind of work, even though we may not see the effect. And this concludes the last Blue Box video before we move on to the assignment part B. So just to give you a sense of where we are in the chapter, we have completed the first part of part A. We'll move on to the next set of grader projects to do part B, and then we'll return to the remaining part of Part A after Part B is complete.